Hello, welcome back, Recapped Mystery here. Today, I'm going to explain an American science fiction disaster film, Geostorm. Watch out and take care. The plot of the film is set in the year 2019 marks the culmination of climate change. At its peak, the world is not what it appears to be. Used to be as a result of changes in rise in surface ocean pattern, temperature and polar ice melting. Various places of the world are affected. Many natural disasters such as tsunamis, floods, and volcanic eruptions, earthquakes, eruptions, and anti-vax protests. Cities and countries are affected by typhoons and other natural disasters, are destroyed in a few of seconds. The eastern, lower Manhattan is swallowed by the river, and 2 million people are killed by a heat wave. Once in Madrid. In those circumstances, it is obvious that no single country can solve the issue on its own, therefore the entire planet gets together to fight as one. The United Nations Fund for Nature, unique project involving top scientists, the globe to develop a satellite. The scientists' work is dubbed Dutch Boy, tenaciously, not as representatives of, after all, their nations are not representative of humanity. Notwithstanding their efforts, they have finally found a means to neutralize the storms by creating a network of thousands of satellites linked to Satellite Dutch Boy. They are satellites intended to use countermeasures in certain regions of the world. Countermeasures have an effect on the fundamental weather elements and neutralize it as needed in the project's region. Supervised by experts from the mission of the International Space Station, is effective as well as the position of the world changes in a matter of days. The Dutch lad, chief programmed and developed, Jake Lawson, is a designer. He is also the leader of the major group of scientists. The reason for the mission's success: after the tumult has subsided, when there is a problem, the U.S. government attempts to seize power, the Dutch boy seeking ownership. This will necessitate the acquisition of Jake's consent. Jake, on the other hand, believes that the project is inappropriate to a single country. Thus, despite he refuses to accept the award because he is an American. As a result of this, the authorities are fired him from his position and hire his younger, Max, your sibling, instead. Max was aware of Jake and the officials' firing plot, even assisted them with it. Jake exits the office in rage, swearing never to forgive Max. The scenario then jumps forward 3 years. The Dutch boy has been working all this time its best and has helped to stabilize the Earths. However, one day the United States Army entered Afghanistan, comes into a tribe in the middle, to their astonishment, of the desert. The ordinarily heated location is now freezing. It appears that a cold frost has frozen a specific place and its inhabitants. The situation is promptly resolved in seconds, reported to the United States government, and a meeting is being held to discuss the issue. Max has a meeting outside the meeting venue. Fiancée Sarah Wilson, who is also a U.S. citizen, a Secret Service agent, was present at the meeting. The president and secretaries declare a problem with the Afghan satellite. The cause was tied to the Dutch boy. Instead of taking the cold frost responsibility, they talk about how they can keep the incident hidden so they don't find out, be chastised, which enrages Max. He genuinely cares about people's life, proposes dispatching an engineer to who can operate an international space station. Please report the problem to us in this manner. They can ensure that it does not happen again in the future. The United States Secretary of State, Leonard Eckham, requests that Max appoint Jake, because he is the only one who knows about it, who knows the Dutch boy like the back of their hand. Max, on the other hand, is skeptical. Nonetheless, travels to meet Jake. Quickly, in the meantime, in the space, scientists and astronauts are stationed to replace the Afghan satellite. An astronaut has been sent to collect all the old satellite's data and examine it to see what the issue is. He collects information from the satellite in a hard disk and conceals it, almost as if he has been commanded to do so. Immediately after, he enters an airlock and is stuck inside the broken windows, and he is launched into space for Jake has spent the last 3 years in. His daughter Hannah visits him in Florida. Max visits him every weekend. When he enters the residence and meets Hannah, she informs him that Jake has been making several because of his passion for machines. Even after many years, engineering has not diminished. After getting dismissed, Max meets Jake, isn't pleased with him paying a visit to Hannah. Max informs him that the Dutch lad is faulty, but Jake is convinced, claims that it is impossible because his creation is flawless. He is concerned about the situation but agrees to return to the space station and investigate what caused the malfunction. Cut to the Climate Council headquarters in Hong Kong, China. A supervisor from the Dutch boy program Chang Long is in his office working as usual. The temperature is extremely hot, so Cheng goes to a nearby grocery store and gets some water and eggs. Everyone knows eggs will cool you down as he returns on the highway and observes them being cooked. Because of the cold before he can, when an earthquake strikes, the ground shakes. When it begins to spew boiling lava, people panic and run around in an attempt to preserve their life. Chang instantly gets into his car and begins driving away as the road behind him deteriorates. Soon, the skyscrapers collapse, and Chang survives the destruction of his city. After reaching a bridge, to save himself, with a cooler temperature elsewhere, Jake departs for the International. For the first time in history, a space station has been launched into orbit. 3 years as head scientist and station commander, a Fassbinder greets him and introduces him to the rest of the Earth crew. Chang phones Max and informs him that he is unable to connect into China's Dutch boy database. He believes that someone is attempting to prevent them from accessing the true reason why the temperature suddenly rose. Max tries to log in, but his access is blocked, revealing that their database has been hacked. Chang then discloses that if Dutch boy experiences an entire system breakdown, a geostorm will form on Earth, which will be even worse than the harsh weather conditions they were attempting to avoid, as catastrophic weather occurrences will be unleashed. A geostorm could potentially end humanity and destroy the Earth forever. Right after the call, a group of foreign men with guns enter Chang's office. Chang manages to hide in time and save his life. The men take his laptop and all the data he had about the Dutch boy malfunction. The next day, Max requests that a cybersecurity expert, Dana, investigate what is wrong with the database. Dana quickly discovers that someone has hacked into the mainframe and is erasing meteorological data from the space station. Jake and his colleagues examine the camera footage of the airlock malfunction and discover that a drive had become entangled with the communication tower. At the time of the accident, Jake and Ute successfully spacewalk and retrieve the drive. However, Jack does not trust the crew and lies to them, claiming that they lost the drive in space. He and Ute secretly go through the database and discover that the satellites were programmed to malfunction over Hong Kong and Afghanistan, but they are unable to determine who did it. Both at the same time, Chang travels to the United States to meet Max and tell him all he learned from the guys who barged into his office, but before he can reach him, a stranger pushes him into a running automobile. Max rushes to his dying friend before succumbing to his injuries. Chang informs Max about a project called Zeus, and Max is then informed about the situation at the space station by Jake, who believes that someone at the highest level of government is involved in the satellite problems. Max gives this information to Dana, and the two look for a project called Zeus in the mainframe. They discover that someone is weaponizing Dutch boy to attack specific cities. This person must be a senior official with access to the mainframe, but they don't know who. Jake suspects that someone has installed a virus into Dutch boy's system that allows them to control it. The only way to stop this is to reboot Dutch boy so the virus can be eliminated, but they will need the president's credentials to do so, and they do not trust him. The brothers now suspect the president is behind all of this because, according to Jake, he is using Dutch boy to destroy the US's enemy nations. Max gets to work on acquiring the president's credentials in order to prevent the geostorm from occurring. However, among the chaos, Jake is reported to be responsible for 200 satellite malfunctions. A hailstorm in Japan kills hundreds. The temperature in Brazil lowers, freezing the waters and people on beaches. The International Space Station is altered if a geostorm that will arrive in 1.5 hours. Soon the space station initiates a self-destruction protocol. Jake and his team had first programmed this protocol to destroy the space station in case it fell to Earth. Now every scientist has to leave the station and fly back to save their lives. Just then Jake figures out that one of his teammates, Duncan, is responsible for putting the virus into the Dutch boys' system. The two fight, which ends when Duncan is sucked into space due to a broken window. Back on Earth, Max is at a presidential speech when the Secretary of State, Leonard, asks him what is wrong. Max tells him everything about the president using the Dutch boy as a weapon. Leonard asks him more about Project Zeus, but Max realizes he never told him about the project. It is then revealed that Leonard is the one behind the malfunctions all this time because he wants to take the presidency. As soon as Max realizes this, Leonard tries to kill him, but the man saves himself and gets to Agent Sarah. The two plan to kidnap the president and take his biometrics, which will reboot the Dutch boy and save the planet. Sarah deliberately causes a shootout, forcing the guards to take the president away for his safety. She then knocks one of them out and takes the president to a car with Max. The couple explains everything to him in the car while meanwhile, multiple large tornadoes smash Mumbai, and a heat wave strikes Russia, killing hundreds of people on the International Space Station. The entire crew boards a shuttle to return to Earth, except for Jake and Ute, who remain behind because someone needs to manually reboot the program after Max acquires the president's biometrics. In the following scene, Max and Sarah successfully arrest Leonard, who is still not sorry for killing so many people for his personal gain. After he is arrested, they bring the president to the Mission Control headquarters, where the president provides his biometrics and thanks Jake for his assistance, and expresses regret for sending him there in the first place. Finally, Jake asks him to look after his daughter and rushes to reset the satellite with only a few seconds till the geostorm. He and Ute successfully restore the system, and all natural disasters throughout the world cease within seconds. The world has been saved, but Jake and Ute are now aboard a space station that is about to self-destruct. To save themselves, they board an old satellite that launches into space without a destination. The two watch the space station explode into pieces as they fly away. Fortunately, one of the mission's scientists survives. Control notices their satellite and sends a shuttle to get the two. The shuttle eventually attaches to the satellite and returns to the Earth, saving everyone. Cut to 6 months later. Jake has been reappointed to manage the newly built space station. He and Max have a good relationship now, both as brothers and co-workers. The movie ends as Jake's daughter Hannah narrates that as long as humans remember we share one future, we will survive. The end. Please subscribe to assist the channel, turn on notification and leave a like. Thank you for taking the time to watch. See you again soon.